Hello, David, and as well, hello, Max and Lee. Thanks for
David.
being here with me again. And yes, to all the viewers, welcome to the special Caribbean Weather Desk Marathon that
I'm
we're
nothing to the
kicking
lose.
off.
I'll be back.
Yep. What are we doing this marathon for? Well, as you can see on satellite, we got this system in the Caribbean. System that's now in the Caribbean. Yesterday, this time, it was just outside the Caribbean, getting ready to enter in. And now it has entered the Eastern Caribbean. The system has really ramped up in organization. The winds are picking up, 30, 40, gusting up to 40. Yeah, so this system is definitely going. It's 97L, currently just south of the southwest tip of Puerto Rico. Estimated center is about 15 north and 67.5 west. As it is, it's an estimated center. They don't have the actual low-level center yet, sadly, because we did not end up having that recon mission from the 53rd Weather Recon from the U.S. Air Force going in. There is still a chance that they will go out into it tomorrow and then also on Tuesday as planned. So we're just waiting for that, and there you go, the good old grandfather clock going again. Works, oh boy. But anyway, to continue on, ignoring the clock there, the system is moving towards the west, maybe slightly north of due west. The system definitely seems to be organizing a little bit further north than what was expected. And I think the forecast guidance and for this system is having a problem because it's not initializing the actual center properly, not initializing its actual intensity properly. And you know, it would definitely be fixed if we could get a recon flight in there. But anyway, let's go and take a closer look at the system. And okay, here we go. Probably won't be able to see too well, but this here is Hispaniola, Jamaica here, Cuba here, the southeast Bahamas here, Puerto Rico, the Virgin Islands, the Leeward Islands, Windward Islands, Trinidad, South America. Now, as you can see, the system is ramping up pretty quickly as we speak. It's quite odd for this time of night whenever we have developing systems. During the nighttime, we have terminal minimum, which usually suppresses the convective, the thunderstorm activity to be building. And when we head to sunrise in the morning time, we get to terminal maximum, which usually builds on thunderstorms, and that's where you really start to see activity start to pick up in the morning rather than the evening and night. But this system is definitely defying that. It has been kicking up since the peak of terminal minimum, or DMIN. And yeah, it's getting organized. Looking at all the stuff, I estimate the center to be located right about here. That'd be about 15.5 more or less, and 68 thereabout. Either way, quite close to where the ATCF puts it, which, as I stated, 15 north and 67.5 west. So, you know, where's this thing going to go? Well, it's going to be heading towards Jamaica, the Cayman Islands, towards the Yucatan. Models are kind of dabbling, as I said, and they will dibble dabble north, south, and also with intensity up and down. until we could get that recon aircraft into the system and flying in and getting that data into the models. So we shall await that. But nevertheless, a very good-looking system here is causing rainfall and gusty winds across the Leeward Islands, the Virgin Islands, Puerto Rico, scattered thunderstorms for Hispaniola. Jamaica should start seeing some of the impacts a little bit later. The southeast tip of Cuba currently getting some of the scattered stuff, but as this thing moves westwards, conditions will deteriorate. With the conditions deteriorating, there are warnings out, advisories out, small craft and flood warnings issued for Puerto Rico, the Virgin Islands, as well as some of the Leeward Islands, as well as for Hispaniola. Jamaica's meteorological services had issued very recently a severe weather advisory for the island of Jamaica. And of course, as this thing changes from being a disturbance to being an actual system, whether Tropical Pressure 5 or Tropical Storm Earl, the warnings would obviously change for the islands and turn into tropical storm watches and warnings, maybe even some hurricane watches and warnings as well. Yeah, as you can see, it has definite good outflow banding. The upper level anticyclone that's centered on top of it's giving it very good conditions to deal with. There is a band of higher wind shear across here, but as you can see from the edges of these clouds here, they're all being pushed up northwards and out of the Caribbean. So for the most part, it is pretty favorable. So if we take a look at that in the shear maps, as you can see here, this is the very decent upper level anticyclone here over the system. And, you know, the greens are for favorable shear conditions. The yellows is for neutral or moderate. I mean, you know, storms can survive and grow in that. Not as well as the favorable, but they still can. And then you have the unfavorable, which is here in red. And if you were to look at it compared to what it was yesterday and day before yesterday, you had this big band of red unfavorable wind shear riding right across here. But as this upper level anticyclone moved through, it has pushed it all out of the way, and it allowed the system to bloom up and develop, and it's doing quite nicely. If we look at it at the vorticity charts for this, we also go to the low-level vorticity chart here at 850, and we could definitely see that compared to yesterday, it has definitely gotten better organized, a lot stronger as well. You don't really see too much of that kind of a lobe sticking out like that. Well, there's a little bit of it left, but it is clearing out, becoming more rounder, spinning more quicker. Thus the higher reds that you see here. And so generally it'll be moving westward, maybe west-northwestwards once it gets around to this area here. Forward motion is dropping, it's slowing down, and it will continue to slow down even more so once it gets into the Western Caribbean. So as I said, the models aren't doing too great at it, but I'll just show it to you nevertheless. So the models kind of keep it a bit south, obviously, with the system actually being located right about here now. You know, the models will eventually need to shift. Well, if we could get that recon out there. Yep. And so generally, you know, bump these models up a little bit, and you can see the general path towards Jamaica, the Cayman Islands, the Yucatan area, especially the Cozumel, Cancun area, and then out into the Atlantic. Now, there's been a little bit of talk about things changing a little bit. Maybe the system staying farther north and impacting Haiti, Cuba, into Bahamas, into Florida. Some of them passing between Haiti and Jamaica, impacting the eastern part of the Cayman Islands and into Cuba. At the moment, doesn't really seem likely just yet, but we'll wait and see what happens, especially with the system changing the ways differently than how the models would have predict. But anyway, with this system, where it is and how it's doing, it's likely to become tropical depression or tropical storm sometime within the next 24 hours. I'd say a lot less than that. I'd say, if anything, by tomorrow morning. But as it continues, it'll be entering this area here. And as I've mentioned before, as I've discussed, the high heat potentials in this area is going to be problematic. It's going to be problematic because it's very high, considered record-breaking, and with that, it's going to pose some serious problems because it will allow the system to ramp up and intensify. We could be looking anything from hurricane to major hurricane across the area. So how does the heat potentials look now? Well, I'll show you right here. Okay, so the system basically located right about here. It's in a fairly decent area of heat content right now. I mean, it's getting there. It's doing quite fine in this, and as it moves westwards, it's going to start getting into this stuff here, and this stuff here is suitable enough to support hurricanes and attain major hurricane status if it gets into this stuff. So general track west to west northwestwards towards Jamaica, maybe passing south of Jamaica, around to the Cayman Islands, maybe passing just south of there, and then making its way towards Cozumel, Cancun, northeastern tip of Yucatan. I mean, things may change between now and tomorrow, so on, and you may end up having it track more to the north, passing through the Cayman Islands, hitting the western tip of Cuba. It may still go a bit south, passing south of Jamaica, a bit further south of Cayman, and more towards the Yucatan-Belize border that's located right along here. But either way, it'll be passing through this hot stuff, this high heat potential, and things are likely to blow up when it does. So yeah, that's what we've got, and we have the big boss Nathan Foy heading down to the Yucatan for his holiday, and he's likely going to be in the middle of that. So we'll be getting some images from that, and as well as Max, who's here on the call with us. He'll be joining Nathan there as well. Max, if you're still there, what do you think? Are you ready to take this thing on as it does come?
Yeah, I am. Basically, I don't think it's gonna be that bad of a storm. Because I have been in tropical storms before. I have been in tropical storm Andrea and tropical storm Colin, which both hit Florida.
Mm-hmm.
And so yeah, I don't think this storm is gonna be that bad. Only a little bit stronger, but not that bad.
Thank goodness.
Well, either way, still be prepared, even if it did get bad, because you don't want to be caught off guard if it does, right? So yeah. So I'm quite sure that as it does come around, you and Nathan would be out in the field taking footage as much as you can, and hopefully you'd be able to send it off towards us. It'd be definitely appreciated, and we'll definitely get that out there as we roll coverage. So thanks a lot, Max. We'll be definitely hearing more from you, especially tomorrow, as you get ready to depart. Yeah, I think you would be leaving on Tuesday. So yeah. So we'd be happy hearing more from Max and Nathan, as well as me and Chris, because me and Chris being here in the Cayman Islands, we would also be impacted. We'd actually be impacted first before you, Max, and Nathan. So we'll definitely be getting as much coverage as we can. And because of the stuff that me and Chris do, we would, whenever stuff like this does come around, we'll be quite busy dealing with the situation. But we'll try to get as much footage as we can while we're out there as well. So yeah, this is what it is. We're waiting. We're waiting to see what the National Hurricane Center will say at its next update, which should be in about maybe
It's already out.
little
It's
over,
already out.
little over.
Just come out. It's just came
Uh,
out. There's been no change. It's not. They've not up. They've not upped it at all. It's still an interest.
well, yeah.
The only one they're saying about is the Pacific system. They're saying
Yeah,
that there's been
yeah.
little change to that,
Hold on.
but they haven't upped.
Yeah, no, they have not updated it yet. It will not be updated until another 2 hours or so. That's when the update is supposed to be coming out.
Well,
So
usually
we will we'll wait on that. Obviously, we're not going to continue this all the way through till then, but we'll definitely keep you updated as it progresses. And definitely as it starts impacting the islands, we'll definitely start doing more coverage as it does happen. But for now, you guys that are there in the Caribbean, keep a very, very close eye on it. You know what? Forget about keeping a close eye on it. Keep both the eyes on it. Stare at it as long as possible, and start preparing yourselves. This thing quite likely to ramp up, and could be a dangerous situation if you do not prepare on time. So the warnings have been placed out there for severe weather. I would suggest you guys start preparing for more than just severe weather, but tropical storm, even possibly a hurricane. You guys there in Jamaica, definitely start prepping yourselves. If you want, spend the day tomorrow going shopping, getting your supplies together and in order. As well as for you there, rest of you guys in the Cayman Islands, and for those of you guys across the Yucatan and even Belize, you two in Cuba, keep an eye on it. So definitely. So yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it for now. 96 Alv has weakened a little bit more and is
that's
currently
been
not
dropped
being
actually. That's
it's
been dropped
not being monitored any longer by the National Hurricane Center. However, there is still the possibility of this system ramping back up, basically the same area that 97L started ramping up just east of the Lesser Antilles. And we'll be monitoring that as well. Obviously not as much as 97 because that's the main story at the moment. But we'll keep you updated if anything changes on that front. But looking overall, more storm activity is expected to continue. We're on that part of the scale that starts to sharply rise in storm activity for the Atlantic as we start to head towards the peak of the hurricane season. So definitely look out for that. And for all you guys out there, stay safe. Don't do anything stupid. And keep on checking in for updates. Get the official updates from the National Hurricane Center at www.nhc.noaa.gov. You could also check out the Force 13 website. They'll also be updating information on there as well. And of course, listening to your local news media. Quite sure they'll be mentioning it as it heads through these areas. And stay tuned to us. We'll be continuing this Caribbean Weather Desk Marathon as things progress and as things get progressively worse. We will be more persistent in coverage, and depending on how things go, we might end up doing the full extended live streaming service. So we'll let you know on how that goes. So I think that's pretty much it for the whole advisory thing. If there's anything that Lee and David want to add, and then after that, deal with any of the questions, the answering questions that we did yesterday, if there's any up yet. And if there's anyone that wants to ask any questions, go ahead. Ask away. I'm here to listen and answer.
I'm just going to let them all know that I will be hopefully doing my next climate show on Friday, hopefully. I'll be talking about the La Nina, and I'll bring in a little bit about the sun as well, just let them know how that's getting on. And I'll also talk about the possibilities for winter 2016-17 for the Northern Hemisphere as well, since we're now into the final months of summer 2016. I thought I'd do a first possibility situation for the following winter. Well, maybe do a wee bit about autumn as well. So anyway, that'll be on Friday evening. I'll let you know what time on our future marathon show, Caribbean Weather Marathon show, because I would imagine Adam will have another update before Friday. So
we'll be doing it all week long.
I'll give an exact time maybe on the Thursday. If Adam does a show on the Thursday. So back to you, Adam, for now. Okay.
Yep. So anything you want to add there, David?
Okay, welcome to Storm Chaser 75. I was wondering whether anybody would put an appearance in. My name is David Tones, and as stated in our last update, I'm over here on the east coast of Australia, and Adam and Storm Chaser has posted this comment: the storm looks like a tropical depression, but the NHC needs to make sure that there's a centre. So before I hand it back to you, Adam, Storm Chaser 75, perhaps I'll be right in saying that we are disappointed that the Hurricane Chaser hasn't put an appearance over the system. So with that response, Adam.
Yes, well, looking at most recent data, there is indeed a low-level circulation. However, it is still a bit disorganized. It is still a bit disorganized. It is actually more organized than what it was earlier, but it is still. It is indeed starting to organize itself together, and I do understand NHC wanting to be cautious about it. But when it comes to a storm that's very close to land and will be affecting people, do you really want to take the risk and have people's lives in your hand like that? Yeah. I would say that I wouldn't take the risk, and I would go ahead, but. I do understand the technical side of it. Technically, it's not fully a tropical depression or tropical storm yet because it's not a fully well-developed low-level circulation.
But I think this is still investigate the system, though.
Yes, hurricane hunters are planned, my quotation marks,
You've
planned
been saying that
to
twice.
fly into the system tomorrow and as well as
I'll
Tuesday.
believe it when I see it.
Yeah, basically. But I definitely think that the chances are they will likely start to fly out into the system. They need to start flying out into the system based on how the system is going, is developing. It is something that needs to be done. So, yeah. So, we'll wait and see. I'm pretty sure that they'll end up calling it a tropical depression or tropical storm within the next 24 hours or so. As I did say, forward movement is slowing down and it will slow even further. So, in terms of locations that will be affected, the timing for them will be a little bit later than usual. Um, so that's another key thing. At least it gives people across the Western Caribbean, Mexico, more time to prepare. So I guess it's a good thing in a way, but not so good for the for Puerto Rico and Hispaniola, who will be
Yeah.
getting the rain consistently for more of an extended period of time than they were expecting.
So,
Yeah.
looking at the floater, what are the main areas of activity?
Right. Well, obviously, there's the developing, well, central dense overcast, which is this big red blob here. It's continuing to maintain itself. And you could definitely see the feeder bands, the banding features are definitely a lot more prominent than they were yesterday and last night. And even today, the banding features weren't as prominent as it is now. You definitely see banding features at all directions of the system, north, west, south, and east. And yeah, as the system continues to get into that warmer stuff, I expect to see it build more, and I expect to see the bands starting to pick up on heavier, colder cloud tops, similar to how this one's kind of kicking off here. I expect to see more of that around there as well.
Okay, hi Martinez, good to see you on board again. And as we've just stated, the flight has to go up no later than 24 hours for Storm Chaser. I acknowledge your response, Mike. And also picking up your point about the school, the schools starting back again. I think Storm Chasers, yeah, he's in South Texas. So, Adam, uh, 24 hours since we did update one. What percentages would you give re-97L impacting on the southern Texas region, and what is the next name for 97L?
Right. Well, the forecast for the system is becoming a little bit more unknown, really, because of its present location, intensity, and how the models aren't really picking up on it as it should do. There's been initialization errors pretty much a good portion of today with the models. They're not doing well on it. And it's all because, we don't have that recon flight going in for that. So if we could get that, that would be good. So I would say percentages for allowing this thing to get into Gulf of Mexico and making any particular landfall right now, I would say is unknown. I would give it a 50-50 in any direction at this point. I'll have to wait you know, a little longer, wait until we get the recon in there, wait until the models have a better handle on the system before we can say for sure. But I'd say for anyone along the Gulf Coast from Florida to Texas, you know, keep an eye on it. Check in with it every so often. See what's changed, and you know, because there's likely will be changes. We don't know for sure. It will take a little while to figure out, but eventually we'll figure it out. So at the moment, I'm giving it 50-50 in pretty much about 85% of the Gulf of Mexico that this thing would affect you somehow. So at the moment, it's still unsure. I was hoping that we would have at least had our first recon mission in, and we would have had the model starting to make some sense out of it, but sadly that did not occur today. Hopefully that will happen tomorrow. So, but if it does, and I know it's going to be an issue with schools that are starting to get back in, especially for the rest of the hurricane season, with more storms likely to come in. You know, that's going to be an issue, as well as, you know, some people, they also take the same vacation times as their kids, and so getting back to work, it's going to be a hard one going into autumn as we head back into the school season. So to the next one, if 97L does continue on, it'd be Tropical Depression number 5, and even if it goes further, Tropical Storm Earl. The E-name storm, Earl.
Excellent. Nice name for a storm there.
So after Earl, it becomes a hurricane, and what name? Or it stays at Earl?
That is the name.
That is the name for the system. Once it becomes a tropical storm, it has that name, and it has that name until it dies. And if it comes back, most times, if the energy is still there, it's still known as the remnants of whatever storm that was. It will keep its name. If it reforms into something else, loses its energy, and reforms into something else, it'll be given another name. But let's just go over here. After this storm, whatever forms next would be Fiona, and after that would be Gaston, then Hermine, Ian, Julia, Carl, Lisa, Matthew, Nicole, Otto, Paula, Richard, Shari, Tobias, Virginie, and Walter. And just saying, if the season does become even more so active, we could end up dusting off the old Greek alphabet and starting off with those names again. At the moment, I'd give it about maybe a 20 to 30% chance of that happening, but you never know as the season progresses. But anyway, for now, we're gonna be needing to worry about future Earl.
Okay, now just another question for the team. We really can't say much about the models, although yesterday after we finished the live stream, Alan and I we were discussing 97L, and I was showing him other models, and Adam, from those models that we looked at yesterday, they're all in agreement that the region is going to be impacted on, and until that flight gets up, well, it's caution.
It's we know that the Western Caribbean, the Gulf of Mexico, is going to be impacted somehow, some way. In terms of exactly where and in intensity, it's still a bit up in the air. well, thanks to the hurricane hunters not being flying into the system. So we'll just have to wait and see. But the general consensus here is that it'll head westwards, maybe west-northwestwards, impact Jamaica, impact the Cayman Islands, then onto the Yucatan. There may be more of an impact on Jamaica, Cayman Islands, and Cuba, or it might be more of an impact towards Jamaica, less of Cayman, more of Belize, and a little less of the Yucatan. So it's a little bit up in the air at the moment. We're waiting on this Hurricane Hunter to fly into this thing. We needed to get in there so models could make more sense of it.
Yeah.
At the moment, the models are doing, in terms of intensity wise and how the models expected this thing to organize, it did a very poor job of it. It did a very poor job in showing this system organizing. Actually, the models didn't show this thing starting to organize until it got near Jamaica. So, the models are just not in a good place right now.
Well, it's because they're not getting the help from the guys that go up the skies. So,
yep.
If the hurricane hunters were listening to this, I would actually say, please get into the storm, please investigate it, and please help these models out, and also help save lives. Do your jobs. Anyway, back to you, Adam.
Yep. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed.
So
I just wanted to say what I would say.
Yep.
Thanks for that.
I agree with you with that. I definitely agree with you on that, Lee. Yeah.
Max, you got any thoughts? And before you answer, been thinking about your location. And what are you hearing from the local area? What's your local media saying about 97?
Oh, I need to laugh at that.
Well, I'm looking on Bay News 9 and the Weather Channel, and they're saying it should hit well, the Weather Channel says that it'll hit Cancun and then head up into the Gulf of Mexico and possibly hit the Gulf of Mexico states. And I'm not sure about that because, like you said, Adam, when a storm wants to weaken, then it tends to go north, and but it's not
other way around. Other way around. Yeah. When storms weaken, they tend to move further south and west. Storms strengthen, they tend to pull north.
North and west.
Yeah.
Okay, but it is getting stronger, so.
Okay, let's go on. Sorry, Max, go.
But yeah, possibly this might go into the Gulf of Mexico.
Yeah. So, but I mean, yes, that's the general consensus. After it gets out of the Northwest Caribbean, it'll end up somewhere in the Gulf of Mexico. But as Max said, and as the news agencies are pointing out, it's very uncertain at the time. Different people are saying different things. At the moment, they ain't gonna know anything until we get this aircraft in the air and the data into the models for us to actually know what's actually gonna happen. Yes.
So with that, continuing and acknowledging that Lee will be departing the studio. So in the meantime, another comment from Storm Chaser 75 about 2012
Ernesto, yes. There has been some comparisons with Ernesto saying that this could be decent analog to it. Well, you know, you could say that although Ernesto at the time was a bit further south of here, of where 97 was, and I think Ernesto's track is probably going to be, if the storm does move towards that direction, I would say Ernesto being an analog would be probably the most southern analog that there will be for the system. I think it would approach a lot more further north. I mean, not just for the fact that the system was the 97 is further north than where Ernesto was, but also the general movement of things suggests more of a northward pull rather than a complete westward shift straight into Belize and southern Yucatan. So yeah, you know, it is one of the uh, many analogs that were thrown out there for the system. I mean, there was also Hurricane Allen, for example, up in the 1990s that happened. Uh, yeah, I mean, that is a good possibility too, that you might end up with a Hurricane Allen type track. You know, it's just a matter of wait and see. You know, I'm really sorry that I can't really give anything better. But hey, you know, you got this system. It's ramping up when models didn't think it was going to ramp up, and it's having it at different locations than what the models had it at. So, I mean, if models can't get the thing right, you know, well, it's going to be kind of hard to forecast. But it would definitely aid in forecasting if we, as I am becoming a broken record, saying we need to get that recon aircraft in the air and
Yes,
flying.
I totally
system.
agree. Totally agree. I just wish they would stop cancelled
And
it on it.
Adam, how long will that flight be in action?
They're usually there for a good few hours. A flight could be anything from I'd say from maybe 5, 6 hours or so. Could be a long flight. Could end up
Alright, so
being
the aircraft it
eight
takes a lot
hours
of
long.
fuel, isn't it?
Yes, yes, that's why they
Yeah.
use specialized aircraft that are able to fly into these systems and they carry extra fuel. They carry extra fuel tanks on them, so they could be able to go on these extended flights. You know, and it also depends on where the system is and where they're taking off from. Uh, the 53rd Weather Recon from the U.S. Air Force Reserves, their main base is in Biloxi, Mississippi, Keesler Air Force Base. They also got a forward operating base here at St. Croix. The other Hurricane Hunter agency is the NOAA Hurricane Hunter. They fly the P3 and the Gulfstream jets and prop planes into the storm. And they're based out of MacDill Air Force Base in Florida, and their forward operating base is in Barbados, right here. So the recon flights for this system that's been planned, quotation mark, planned, come from the U.S. Air Force 53rd Recon. And so they'd likely be flying out of Keesler and or St. Croix.
Okay, now considering the time between the signal going out and showing up on the live stream, another comment from Martinez. Now, comparing comparing what's happening in the Atlantic to past seasons, where does 2012 fit in the picture?
2012.
Are we seeing a repeat of a previous season or the early stages?
I'd say no.
Well, I would say to compare it to, for example, 2012, I would say no. 2012 was was a leaving La Nina year. You know, the La Nina had was on its way out during the latter part of that season, and 2013 was neutral heading into a El Nino. This is a different situation. We're having a developing La Nina coming into the picture, and also the setup is different. There was talk earlier about having a negative AMO, negative Atlantic multi-decadal oscillation, basically that cold pool in North Atlantic and how that would affect things in the tropics. Now it looks like we're actually in a positive AMO now, and that setup is quite different than what we had in 2012. I think the AMO signal kind of gave up in 2010, 2011, and then it was negative AMO from like 2011 onwards until recently. So it's a bit of a different kind of a setup. It's not your usual kind of setup. It's I would say, you know, this season I wouldn't be surprised seeing it quite similar to 2004, which, by the way, yes, I know it is that was an El Nino year, but that was a Makito El Nino, slightly different. It would be similar to 2005. It would be similar to 2007, 2008, maybe 2010 a bit. I would see most of the storm tracks this year would be high threatening, high impact storms. They're going to be mostly in the Caribbean, mostly in the Gulf of Mexico, off the southeast U.S. And Bahamas areas. Unlike recent years where most of the storms were out in the Atlantic, this year is going to be more Caribbean. I mean, so far this year, pretty much most of the storms, well, practically all the storms had started out or went through those areas. You know, Alex started out in the Northwest Caribbean and then kicked out into the Bahamas and started developing out into the Atlantic. We had Bonnie, which formed near the Bahama area. Well, actually came out of the Caribbean, went through the Bahamas areas and really took off southeast U.S. Colin started out in the Caribbean Sea, moved through the Northwest Caribbean into the Gulf of Mexico. Danielle formed in the Caribbean Sea, then moved into the Gulf of Mexico through the Bay of Campeche. So, I mean, so far the storms this year have been Caribbean, Gulf of Mexico, southeast U.S., Bahama area. And I think that's generally going to be the pattern for this year. You're going to be seeing a lot more of those long-range Cape Verde storm tracks like what we saw back in 2007 with Dean and Felix, where they'll come off of Africa, they'll continue chugging on westwards until they get through the Caribbean and really powerhouse through the Caribbean.
Okay, now Max, your thoughts?
On what?
Well, I just thought you wanted to add something, but if you haven't at this point in time, Adam, could you bring up the shear model again? And I want to have a look at the upper divergence.
The current wind shear?
Current wind shear, and I want you to have a look at the upper divergence.
Okay, so here is the wind shear, and you requested upper divergence. Upper divergence is definitely there, and it is quite big and expansive. So, yeah.
Now, just a technical question, and I should say to the viewers that I'm on a learning curve too when it comes to the technical aspects. But just thinking, just bring your cursor over onto the area where 97L is, and I think it's what, 5 to 10 knots? Or is it higher?
Yep.
Okay.
That's 5 and 10, yeah.
All right, now, Well, what's the most strongest wind factor have we seen with wind knots via the upper divergence on a system? What's the strongest wind strength that you've seen in the upper levels over a system?
Maybe about 20, 30, maybe, give or take.
Would that be
20,
the
30. I
average?
think I've seen a 40. Well, for strong storms, yeah, possibly depending on how the upper level pattern was for the particular storm. With these things, there's a lot of variabilities that go with it. So it really just depends. Depends on the storm. Depends on the overall environment. Depends on what's out there in the upper levels. What upper level trough, what upper level low, what a up-level anticyclone or ridge is there, and how it's interacting with the system and whatever the system has above it. So it really just depends. There's a lot of variability with it.
Okay, can you bring up the shear tendency again?
So that's wind shear and shear tendency.
Is shear tendency by itself?
All right, here's the shear tendency. So overall, as the upper level anticyclone that's over 97L continues to move westwards, the wind shear will continue to drop, and this band of higher shear will continue to lift out of the Caribbean and continue to move westwards, and not really be a factor at all. It is dropping. It is dropping by 10 to 5 to 10 knots as it moves westward, and it will continue to do so, and it may even drop even lower than that as time goes on, as the system continues to intensify and the up levels continue to work with it as well.
So, for our viewers, Alan, would I be right to say that looking at that shear tendency model, not much has changed over the last 24 hours? Conditions overall are improving. What about that high? Now, where's that high? I think we're talking about a blocking high. That doesn't come into the equation, does it?
Oh, blocking high. You mean the surface high? Because this is upper level.
Oh.
Yeah, David, I'm not sure what you're
Yeah, it's in a surface high. Am I correct to put it that way?
No,
okay. Okay.
I
I see what you're talking about. Okay. Well, if we were to look at the North Atlantic area, okay. Hopefully, it'll come up for me. Sometimes my computer does not like NOAA for some reason. So.
You were saying that. Yeah.
So. Let's just see if it'll play with me. Play with me. Come on. Yeah, it doesn't seem to be good. Okay, I'll try to. I'll try to work. Trying to help you visualize it here. Give me 2 seconds here. Just let me get.
Time's getting on, David. So I will be going.
I'll be doing it as quickly as I can here. All right, so there is the Atlantic Azores Bermuda High that extends out across the Atlantic, and the ridge extends all the way through into the Gulf of Mexico. With basically there's four center points of high pressure. There is a currently a dissipating 1017 high right over here, just south of Louisiana. Right here, there's a dissipating 1017 high here. Out in the Atlantic, out about around here. There's a 1024 Atlantic high, and it's expected to weaken just slightly to a 1022, but push a good decent ways westwards. And then out near the Azores, there's a very strong 1030 millibar high. It is expected to push even more eastwards and, well, southeastwards. We get a little bit to a 1029, but overall still remaining pretty strong. Also another high that should be moving into Spain at 1027, and it is expected to weaken down, I think, to a 1024. But anyway, this big Atlantic ridge is there. It's sitting over the area, and it's just just going to push this thing off to generally west to west northwestward. Pretty sure with the dissipating high here, it may definitely start to allow this thing to pull more northwards into here. So I mean, as I said earlier, it's not out of the realms that anything from Florida to Texas could end up getting this after all. We'll just have to wait and see how it plays out. But at the moment, this system is expected to continue westwards to west northwestwards. So we'll see how it goes.
Okay. Note the time factor again for Lee. So Lee and Adam, we do have a bit more communication from the viewers. So what we might do is end this segment, and Adam, you and I will be around for a few hours yet, subject to whether you've got anything on your agenda. We might reactivate another session, but before we go clear, just quickly, should we provide a brief update on Nita?
Brief update on Nita. Well, okay. Well, what do we know about Nita today? I think it was Nita had a 109-mile eye earlier today.
That has
system
shrunk a little bit since then.
It has shrunk a little bit, but I gotta tell you, if you have a storm with a 109-mile eye, you got a pretty poor looking system there. Which, well, it's quite obvious. I mean, it did go over land and come back and has come back out. You know, it is quite indeed possible that you know, it'll re-intensify over the open waters before making landfall again. But you know, the general consensus is that you know, China's going to get wrecked from the system as it comes across. I think currently the general consensus is that this thing is a 75-mile-an-hour storm, and some say 65, but generally, more or less, the system should continue onwards towards land. Chances for intensification are there. It surely can happen. So you know, we just have to watch it as it heads towards that direction. Yeah. So according to the models, it should see landfall take place sometime over the next 24 to about 36 hours. Should see landfall. You know, you're going to see a lot of rain, some gusty winds, maybe a little bit of rough seas, but you know, I don't think you guys over there need to worry about getting a super typhoon or anything. I mean, I'm not saying that that's not possible, but
I can tell you it's not possible now because the solar wind energy that's coming will not hit that area. it's going to hit over the Atlantic mainly. So I don't expect Nita to get beyond Cat 2. So no.
Yeah,
No major.
I don't expect it to as well. I think he'll probably maybe intensify a little bit to maybe
Not much.
80,
So Cat 2.
80, and then I'll put it at 80 maybe, and then weakens back down and goes bye-bye overland. You guys should also look out for possibly some more systems kicking off. Later that would be discussed about as well. But hey, you guys are pretty much good. At least you guys are getting a system that'll be making landfall relatively weak per se. But yeah, you guys are fine. Just prepare yourselves for it. You know what's coming. Just do what you need to do. Prepare yourself for it, and have yourself a very good stormy time when it does come.
Okay, thanks, Alan. And on behalf of the Force 13 team and Nathan heading down to his holiday location in less than 24 hours. Lee, any final thoughts? Then Alan, and then we'll end this update, and we could come back. I'm not promising, but we've just got to do some fine tuning here behind the scenes. So, Lee.
Well, it's my final thoughts are is stay safe down in the Caribbean and also Mexico and whatever as the storm develops and impacts your areas. And I'll also mention one more time that I'll be doing a climate show on Friday evenings. I will be talking about La Nina and the weather possibilities for winter 2016-17, and I'll also mention a little bit about the autumn as well. But in the meantime, I'd like to say good night for now and stay safe. Back to Adam.
Yeah. Well, as we did say, you guys in the Caribbean, especially for Hispaniola, especially for Cuba, Jamaica, the Cayman Islands, Yucatan, all you guys along there, please keep close attention to this and start prepping for it now. Even if it doesn't make some direct impact, the system is expected to expand out itself, and especially over the Western Caribbean, and intensify, and you would likely feel some sort of effect, whether rain, wind, seas, whatever. So just prep up yourselves, get prepared for it, listen to the news, listen to the radio, prep up yourselves, get everything you need done, and keep in tune with us, keep in tune with the National Hurricane Center. Good luck to all of you. For you guys in the Gulf of Mexico, the Gulf states, all of you should be keeping an eye out on it. Not totally sure yet on exactly where it will go once it enters the Gulf of Mexico. We'll have to wait and see what it does over the Western Caribbean, what reconnaissance data has, and what the reconnaissance data will put in the models. Get the models better, we'll know. So everyone along there, good luck, good night, and watch it closely. And if anything, we might, me and David might pop back in a little later tonight. But for now, I would say good night and good luck.